Hello everybody, JenniferMaker here. It's a beautiful day to learn how to create an all-over sublimation shirt. These are really fun because you can vary the images as much or as little as you want to make the pattern completely cover your own and make it like just your own style. Now, there are some important steps, especially for adding interest to sleeves or over seams, but I'll show you what worked best for me in this video. If you've worked with sublimation transfers before, you know that they work best on clothing that is 100% polyester and white because the ink requires polymers. Plus, it's translucent, so colors other than white can impact your results. A white background really makes your pattern pop. So the Cricut sublimation shirts I used are perfect for this project. They come in several styles and sizes. Just make sure that you pick an option with at least 65% polyester or more. And the higher the polyester count, the better. Of course, if you're new to all this sublimation and all this talk about polyester content is news to you, be sure to check out my Sublimation for Beginners guide at JenniferMaker.com/sublimation for beginners. It is a great place to begin if you're curious about doing all of these cool things. Now, I got these shirts at a very reasonable price, but it's a good idea to have some simple white polyester fabric to try out your designs before committing to the shirt. I have both the shirts and the fabric linked in my materials list at JenniferMaker.com/580. So in this video, I'll share the temperature, time, and pressure that work best for me, but it's always a good idea to test just in case you need to adjust the variables for your materials and tools. I'll also show you how to prepare and print one of my free floral PNGs in Cricut Design Space. It's free and you don't need a cutting machine to use it. I just really like the free software to plan out my design because it has all the tools that you'll need. We'll plan out a pattern to go all over the shirt's front, back, and sleeves, and even some of the seams so you can see how that works. Of course, this is a sublimation project, so you'll need a sublimation printer with sublimation ink and sublimation paper. You'll also want a fan for ventilation, white cardstock and uncoated butcher paper for catching any excess ink, a lint roller to prepare your shirt, and heat-resistant tape to keep everything in place during pressing. And speaking of pressing, I'm using a Cricut Easy Press with a pressing mat, but you can use any flat heat press that reaches the temperature you need. A handheld press that can cover your image repeats will be easier though, because you don't want to reactivate the ink on earlier transfers each time you add a new design. Heat presses are not all the same, so I have different information for different press types in my sublimation cookbook over at JenniferMaker.com/sublimation cookbook. So using a pressing surface inside a garment is usually optional, but I found this set of pressing pillows really helpful, especially when you're decorating over a seam. There are several sizes, so you can use the one that fits each design area best. They may help elevate each area away from any seams that can mess with your transfer and protect the other designs that you've already sublimated. But I'm going to show you a super simple method that actually worked better for me on the sleeves. Remember, you can see the tools and materials at JenniferMaker.com/580. And if you're curious how to do this with your own custom pet design, like my dog Hunter on this shirt or my cat Butterscotch on this one, stay tuned all the way to the last step for more details. So, are you ready to sublimate some t-shirts? Let me show you how to get my free files, and then we'll start. Step 1, get my free t-shirt designs. To show you how to do an all-over sublimation shirt, I created some floral designs which you are welcome to use. Feel free, of course, to use any design for this technique, but I'm going to demonstrate how it works with these floral designs first, and I encourage you to practice with these until you feel confident. First, download my designs at JenniferMaker.com/580. You can either download right from that link by saving the project, or download from my entire free design collection. To find it, look for Libraries in the red bar at the top, then click either Get a Password if you don't yet have one, or click Enter the library. Search the page for design number 580 and click the link to download the designs. There are 3 designs in the folder: a flower bunch, and a wreath. I used an AI art generator to create the designs, then adjusted them with image editing software. If you want to learn more about the process, check out my workshop on creating and using AI-generated art in your crafts at JenniferMaker.com/AI-art. If you're not sure how to upload, go to JenniferMaker.com/SVGS to learn how to unzip and upload files to Cricut Design Space. Step 2. Prepare and print your design. I found it easiest to prepare and print my designs using Cricut Design Space. You don't need a Cricut to use the software, which is free. You can download it at design.cricut.com. So open up Cricut Design Space and click Upload. Select Upload Image, then Browse to find the design you want. I'll pick the single flower. We want to keep all of the colors and details, so select Complex for the image type and then click Continue. Click Apply and Continue. Select Print Then Cut Image, even though we aren't going to use the cutting machine for this project, and then click Upload. On the next screen, select your image and click Add to Canvas. Depending on the style and amount of images you want to place on the shirt, you can adjust the sizing to your preference. Design Space has helpful planning tools called templates that really help here. Click Templates, and you'll see there are baseball shirts, polos, and much more. But we want classic t-shirts, so click that to add a template to your canvas. Then pick your shirt type and size. I'm using a small men's short sleeve. Don't worry, the guides won't be part of the design. Drag the flower onto the front chest area. Then keep the size icon at the top closed and adjust the dimensions if you want. I'll make the width of this flower 5 1/4 inches. Now you may see a low resolution warning even after resizing your image, and that's okay. Don't worry if you do. They will print just fine at the size needed for an all-over t-shirt. However, I don't recommend enlarging these images if you want to go bigger. Click Duplicate to make the amount of design repeats that you want for the shirt and start placing them on the guides to see how many you need. Of course, it depends on the shirt and pattern you want, right? I think 20 will be a good amount for my shirt's front, back, and sleeves, but you can always make more if you need to. You can flip the direction a flower is facing by selecting it and then clicking Flip and Flip Horizontal. I'll flip about half of mine. Also, with the lock icon still closed, resize a few of the duplicates to be larger or smaller to add interest. And your designs are then ready for printing. Make sure the correct machine is selected in the top right and click Make. On the Prepare screen, make sure your material size matches the size of your sublimation paper. I'm using 8.5 by 11 inch letter size paper, so this is just right. Now, if your designs aren't small enough that more than one design can fit on a sheet, select one and click the icon with 3 dots. Then click Move Object and select a mat with open space in the pop-up, and then click Confirm. On the newly combined mat, drag the designs away from each other so you can cut or tear them apart later. And be sure to click Mirror for each mat since we'll apply the designs face down. Select the first mat again and click Continue. On the Make screen, click Send to Printer. Select your sublimation printer from the Printer drop-down menu. Keep Add Bleed off because we don't need any extra ink around the designs. But be sure to toggle Use System dialog on for more control of your printer settings. Then click Print, and then move or minimize the Cricut Design Space window so that you can find your print dialog box because it's usually behind it. The dialog box should have the correct printer selected already, but if it doesn't, go ahead and select it. Now your settings will likely look different than mine, but what you want to do is set the media or paper to an option like Premium Photo Matte, and you want to be sure your quality is set to Best or Highest. We already mirrored the designs, so keep Mirror or Flip Horizontally unchecked. And make sure the sublimation paper is loaded correctly in your printer, and then click Print. Once the first sheet prints, set it aside, being careful not to smudge the ink. And repeat for the other design pages until you've printed enough for your t-shirt plan. We'll cut the designs by hand, so you are all done with Cricut Design Space. The paper's edge can leave an indent during pressing, so tearing or feathering the designs apart really helps here. Just be careful not to tear too close to the ink where you actually tear into it. And make sure you remove all of the black registration marks, which we would have needed for print then cut, but we're not using that in this tutorial, so we don't want them. Step 3, prepare and press your all-over sublimation shirt. Remember, always keep a window open and or turn on a fan before sublimating to help improve your ventilation. Set your heat press to the correct temperature and time. According to my sublimation cookbook, the Cricut Easy Press needs to be set to 385 degrees Fahrenheit or 196 degrees Celsius for 40 seconds for polyester fabric. While you're waiting for your press to heat up, you can plan some of your design by placing the prints face up on the shirt. If you use a template like I did, refer back to Cricut Design Space to follow your plan. And don't worry if a flower of a different size looks better in a different spot and you want to change things on your shirt. The pattern is totally up to you. Make sure you save some for the back and sides if you want to decorate more than a front. And don't put the designs so close together that they might overlap when you press them, because it's best not to reheat a design when you're pressing a new one. Then set the designs aside and roughly the layout that you want to use when you go to actually press them onto your shirt. If you want to test out your design's color and size, as well as your pressing settings before you sublimate onto a shirt, you can use some white polyester fabric as a test, which I highly recommend. Just press it using the same steps I'm about to tell you. All right, so put your shirt on a pressing mat. Be sure to lint roll it to get rid of any pet hair or debris or dust that will interfere with your transfer. Lightly press your shirt all over for 10 seconds at a time to remove excess moisture from the material and smooth out any wrinkles. Lay the shirt flat on the pressing mat so the first spot you want to decorate is visible and smooth. I found it easiest to work from the front's middle and radiate outward. Put a piece of white cardstock on top of a large pressing pillow, then put the pillow and the cardstock inside the shirt roughly where your first design will go. Use heat-resistant tape to secure the first design face down on the shirt. Now place a piece of white butcher paper on top of the shirt and your tape design to protect your press from any extra ink. And then press your design for 40 seconds at 385 degrees Fahrenheit or 196 degrees Celsius with light pressure. Once the time is up, remove the butcher paper and let the design sit for at least 10 seconds to help prevent any blurring or ghosting, and then remove the tape design to reveal your first transfer. Now add some of the other flowers or whatever design you're using all over the shirt's front, avoiding the seams and sleeves for now. Remember to move the pressing pillow and pressing pad as needed to the new design areas. Always secure the design face down with heat-resistant tape, cover it with fresh butcher paper, and don't let your heat press get too near existing already pressed designs or the ink could re-sublimate and what will happen is it'll lighten. So you don't want to repress any areas. Flip the shirt over and put fresh white cardstock on the pressing pillow under the shirt's back. Repeat the process to add more designs on the back. Be very sure the pressing pillow stays between the front designs and your heat source to avoid reactivating the pressed ink. Sublimate the sleeves. To decorate a sleeve, put a small pressing pillow inside it. Smooth out any wrinkles and press the sleeve to get rid of a crease if needed. If the pressing pillow is smaller than your design, fold clean white cardstock so it fits the sleeve, then slide it in between the layers to keep the fabric flat and protected. Place the printed image face down on the sleeve and tape it down. Place a piece of butcher paper on top of the sleeve and the tape design. Press the design with light pressure for 40 seconds at the correct temperature. After pressing, allow the design to sit for 10 seconds to help prevent ghosting. Remove the tape design and the cardstock from inside the sleeve to reveal your result. You can use the same process to decorate the other sleeve if you want to. Sublimate over a seam. The seams on a t-shirt are the most difficult because the fabric isn't flat. Plus, there's an indent where the two fabric sections meet. I tried a lot of tips and tricks, and even with a perfect press, you will likely have some bleeding where the ink drifts along the indent. To add a design over a seam, move the pressing pillow and protective cardstock under the seam and press it completely flat, avoiding the previous prints. Prepare and position the design just like the others, but use a little extra tape this time. Then press it for the same amount of time, but with heavy pressure to try to trap more of the ink right where you want it to stay. Step 4, show it off. And here is how my all-over sublimation shirt came out. Pretty cool, isn't it? Step 5, customize it. If you love the idea of these all-over floral shirts, but think it would be fun to hide your pets' faces in the flowers, as I did with this shirt featuring my golden retriever, Hunter, and this shirt with my orange tabby cat, Butterscotch, this is totally possible to do. You can get the custom templates that I made for my own shirts and learn how to add your pet photos through a special program called JenniferMaker Advance. The Advance program helps you advance your crafting skills by teaching you how to truly make these popular designs unique and special through tutorials and templates, as well as give you advanced access to my vast library of designs, projects, and resources. I may or may not be accepting new members into the Advanced program at the time you see this video, but if you're interested, go to JenniferMaker.com/advance to learn more. How fun are these shirts? I love that you can vary the design sizes and placement however you want. You can really have a lot of fun with this. Now, caring for these sublimated t-shirts is easy because the ink dyes the fibers instead of sitting on top like vinyl would. So just wait at least a day so everything sets, and then turn it inside out or wash it with cold or warm water and mild detergent. Then hang it to dry or tumble it with low heat. The design will last as long as the shirt that way. So if you love this project as much as I did and want to learn more about sublimation, come check out my Sublimation Startup mini course at JenniferMaker.com/Sublimation Startup. I'll walk you through all the basics from setting up a sublimation printer with the right ink to which tools are helpful for beginners. I also show you how to use free software to print designs and share all my tips on getting the best results with each press. Not to mention, I've got tons of ideas and designs for projects you can sublimate. You can sign up right now and learn at your own pace without pressure. I also have a Facebook group just for sublimation, which is a great way to see all the fun that you can have with it and all the amazing things you can make. Whether you're new to sublimation or not, come join us at JenniferMaker.com/sublimation group. I'd love to have you come ask questions, share ideas, and get inspired. And that's it for today. Until next time, this is Jennifer Maker reminding you to craft a life you love.